guys, Rob here again with another video. Okay, so the other day I posted a picture of a kit which I've named Sadi. There is no reason why I've named it Sadi. It just came to me, and I like the Beatles song Sexy Sadi. So this kind of Frankenstein kit has been made that I've called Sadi, which is basically the 18-inch DW collector's bass drum, and that's all in broken glass sparkle, which is kind of like a silver sparkle, kind of. So that's 18 by 14 bass drum. And it could be the Hitmaker 14 by 7 snare or 13 by 5 snare drum, because they're the two collector's snares that I've got. People that know me, when I get my endorser kits, I always get 2 bass drums, 2 snare drums, and they're always 13 by 5, that's one snare, and the other snare drum is 14 by 7 or 8. Still don't know what size it is. Sal in America keeps asking me. Do you know what I should do after this? I should go and get the tape measure out and actually measure it, Sal. I think that's what I should do. Then I'll find out. So yeah, those 2 snares, that bass. And then last year, I did a little video on this. Last year I bought on eBay, I just got this Tama kit, Tama Star kit. Cheap as chips, really. But there is superficial damage. There's damage to the shells, basically. Well, the wrap, not the shells. The shells are fine. Sorry, it's just the wrap. And it's that white satin flame finish that I love on Slingerland drums, and I love it on Gretsch drums. And I know DW did it for a while, and I tried to get an endorser kit in that colour, and they got back to me and said they don't do it anymore. So it was like, darn, I just missed my chance to have that. So this came up on eBay, and it was cheap, and I said to the guy about the damage on the finish, and you know, I probably can't get it fixed. Anyway, so I won it in the end. I got it. And it's 20-inch bass drum, 12-inch rack tom, 14-inch floor. You know, 12 by 8, 14 by 14, and I think it's 20 by 14. So sort of standard sizes, but it is from 1967. Now, everyone knows that an American drum kit, or I guess even a European kit, like a Premier or something, or a Sonor from 60s, 70s vintage is worth a lot. People sort of instantly go, oh, amazing, especially 60s, you know, and I guess 50s as well. But, you know, 60s for me is that golden period of jazz and rock and roll and fusion and everything, you know. I guess no one really talks about Tama kits from that period because they were just trying to make it, I guess, in the business. So they made this kit called a Star kit, and the logo is a bit kind of cheesy. But anyway, who cares about that? They look great, and they actually sound great. I will say that the bass drum, you know, most bass drums, you know, if we look at A, B, C, D, you know, you've got a high tuning, somewhere in between, then a mid tuning, somewhere in between, then a low tuning or something. This one's only got an A and a B. It's either up or down. There's no like nice little grades and shades of colour of a bass tone in between. And I've greased up the tension rods going into the lugs, you know, all that stuff. Actually, Tristan at Drumatic in Froome did that for me. And we tried new heads and dampers and all sorts, and it's sounding great. And it's ported at the moment with a hole in it, about a 10-inch hole in it or something, and it's okay. But yeah, it's, you know, I need to find out what it can do really, where it's going to live. But the toms are pretty good, especially the floor tom. The floor tom's got loads of different tuning possibilities. 12-inch rack tom, not so much maybe, but again, it's, you know, it's very workable. And for the jazz stuff or semi-funky fusion stuff or whatever, it's okay. Anything more than that, I think I would have to change it up a little bit. But if you watch this channel, you know that I've talked before about Frankenstein, what I call Frankenstein drum kits, which are where I put different bits of drums from various toms, snares, cymbals, bass drums, floor toms, and just mix them all up to get an interesting sounding kit. Visually, it may not look very pleasing. A bit like a, what do they call it, a jelly bean kit or something, or jelly baby kit, with all different colours, those Ludwig Vista lights. So a bit like that maybe, but you know, it's not about that. I certainly wouldn't be comfortable gigging live with a kit that looks like that, but certainly in the studio I have no issue with that at all. And I think if you've got a few kits at home, if you're lucky enough, you know, mix and match and see what you can come up with. I like using any of the kits that I've got, like the Ludwig 67 Super Classic, the Leedy Shelley Man Range kit, and the DW kit, and of course this Tama Star kit now. I like to mess about and Frankenstein the kit up and cross-pollinate the ideas, because they come up with some really interesting sounds. And as I say, on these jazz gigs I've been doing recently, or blues gigs actually, I've been taking out that setup, which sometimes gets some weird looks. But you know, with the collector's bass drum and snare in that broken glass sparkle, and then the white satin flame toms, it might look a bit weird, but I've probably shared some pictures already, actually, or I'm doing it now, so you'll see it. But it just sounds really cool, and really at the end of the day, isn't that what it's about? It's about the sound. And also there's something about the feel of those white satin flame toms. It just, I don't know. One, I'm very tactile, and I don't mind telling you that I scratch my nails on that white satin finish. I kind of like the feel of the grain of the finish and everything. I know it's weird, but on the plastic, it's quite pleasing. I think that's my autistic trends coming out there, but I really like that. And when I'm playing it, I just feel I can just visualize Art Blakey and Elvin Jones back in the day having those kits, and Max Roach. I used to look at those drummers playing those kits, whether it was just pictures or whether it was some of those DCI videos of legends of jazz drumming, and I'll sort of watch those bits over and over of them playing those kits. And I always wanted one, and I knew buying one would be expensive, as I've got a few vintage kits, the ones I've just mentioned. But yeah, I just think it sounds great, and I wanted to do a little clip about it, just to tell you what those drums are, and why I've called it Sadi. Again, I don't know, because of the Sexy Sadi song. And I just thought, yeah, it should be named. It's just an interesting little kit. I love it. Maybe you should try, as I say, making Frankenstein kits of your own. And I think going back to what Bob Zildjian taught me years ago. Now, I know you're talking cymbals now and not drums, but his thing was when an endorser came in and they said they definitely wanted a AA, because I was working with Sabian at the time, and that's where he trained me. And he said, you know, if they come in saying, I definitely want an AA sound control fast crash, 14-inch. Now, the sound control were very thin and they tapered up at the ends a little bit, but they were very, very quick, and they were very lovely and opened out nicely. And they were just great cymbals, both in AA and the HH range, really good. But some rock drummers would want that. They would come and say, yeah, I want that, but they'd be very heavy players. So, you know, he would say, all they're going to do is get out those sound controls, and they'll get them all on the stands, 15, 16, 17, 18 or something. Great, put them in his bag, disappear, go on tour, 2 gigs down the road, they're all broken. But in his mind, or her mind, their mind, they definitely wanted a AA sound control cymbal. And he used to say, don't let them buy with their eyes from what they've seen. You know, let them pick and buy the cymbals with their ears, not their eyes, you know. So a lot of the times I'd say, okay, yeah, I know what you would like, but how about checking this out? And I'd like to do a cymbal test where they'd turn around and I'd get some cymbals up and I'd play them. And I'd say, okay, which ones do you like? And none of them would be a sound control. They'd all be a different range, maybe slightly heavier, but something different, maybe a lighter crash or something. But anyway, it certainly wouldn't be a sound control. And I used to do it in the shop, Assembly Music, that I've spoken about. Steve Gardner was kind of the same. You know, people would say same thing. I want this snare drum, I want this cymbal or whatever. And then you do the blindfold test, if you like. And, you know, 9 times out of 10, they would pick the one, because they couldn't see it, they'd pick the one, oh, that does sound nice. What is that? It's like, oh, this is the 200 quid, whatever it is, or 150 quid cheap version. And it just sort of proves the point, really. And, you know, in the studio, I spend a lot of time in the studio, and we're always looking for sound. Sound is the issue, you know. That's really important. What does it sound like? Obviously, the playing is important, but, you know, the sound, there's so much to the feel of a track and the atmosphere of a track before you even, you know, sort of lay into, right, what's now actually happening with the nuts and bolts of the groove and everything. If the drum sound isn't right and something's off, then it makes a big difference. So over my sort of 20 years of doing more intensive studio playing, that's a thing. So just to clear that up, that's what that drum kit is. It's a bit of fun, you know. I'm still completely a DW endorser. I always will be, God willing. or Alien Willing, whatever. I love their equipment and I use it all of the time. This is just a little thing I like to do on the side when I'm taking gear out for little local gigs. I certainly wouldn't appear with Susie or Lorena on a big arena or stadium stage or theatre stage even, or club stage with this drum kit. But when I'm gigging locally, I don't mind taking these drums out and trying them out and playing them. And as I say, if you're coming to a gig and you see me play this kit locally around the Southwest, then come up and say hi, come and have a look, because most drummers, when they do see it, are like, what the hell are those toms? And of course, most people think they're Gretsch because it's got a round badge on it, saying, you know, star on it. And it's only when they get closer they go, oh, I thought it was a Gretsch. It's like, oh, don't be disappointed. It isn't a 50s Gretsch or whatever, 40s, 50s, but it is they're still beautiful toms. And with the emperors on them, top and bottom, they just sound wicked. And, you know, I need to experiment as well with some, so we've got emperors at the moment, emperors top and bottom coated, but I want to put on some pinstripes, and I also want to try some emperor clears as well, just to see what else those toms can do. Because I remember I did a video with my Leedy kit a little while ago, which was sacrilege really, but I put pinstripes on the top and clears on the bottom, and it was fat. I'm trying to find it. At the start of doing this, I've made some notes, and I thought, right, I'll try and find that video. It's on my YouTube short somewhere, but I just didn't, you know, sort of trawl through it far enough to find it. But if you find it, the kit sounds absolutely huge. And I put the 14x7 DW snare with it. It's off the charts, man. It sounds massive. But yeah, check that out. But yeah, you can do so much with kits if you just change up the heads and so on and so forth. So anyway, I've now introduced Sadi to the world. As I say, I don't know anyone called Sadi, don't go out with anyone called Sadi. It was just as I was driving home the other night, I was playing Beatles and that came on and I thought, sexy Sadi is the one. So anyway, she's now been introduced to the world and I'm enjoying playing the kit. It's all good. So I hope you enjoy this video. I hope you're well. And if you have any questions, obviously leave them down below in the comments. Do the usual thing, please. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when I'm doing more of these kind of videos. So take care, guys, and see you soon.